We've been teaching artificial intelligence since 1973, so it's not exactly something new for us. Now and our approach again is to make sure that artificial intelligence is a tool that is available to all the discipline of engineering, architecture and design, because everybody can exploit artificial intelligence or different types of artificial intelligence.
Welcome to another edition of the Makers and Shapers interviews of EIT Digital. The Makers and Shapers conversations are all about the future. They bring together the makers and the shapers. The makers for EIT Digital are the entrepreneurs, the corporate leaders, and the shapers are the public administration, the governmental leaders, and they are all together shaping the future of Europe with the aim of building a Europe which is strong, inclusive, fair, and sustainable. Today, I'm thrilled to be joined by Donatella Sciuto, the Rector of Politecnico di Milano, a world-class institution when it comes to engineering, architecture and design. It actually ranks 21st according to the QS World University Ranking 25 when it comes to engineering, and in the top 10 for design and architecture. Today, we will be discussing about how Politecnico di Milano is future-proofing itself as a top European tech university, attracting the best talents, delivering the best graduates, but also keeping the pace with cutting-edge digital technologies and entrepreneurship. Politecnico di Milano is also a long-standing partner of EIT Digital since 2011, and together we have built over the years many activities both in innovation and in education. We built companies out of research, we built summer schools, and we deliver our master program in top digital technologies topics, including chips design, embedded systems, artificial intelligence, and high-performance computing. Rector Sciuto, welcome. It's an honor to meet you here at your premises of Politecnico di Milano. You are the first female rector of a top world institution, and your mandate brings both continuity and transformation. So the first question I would like to ask is about your vision. So what does it mean for you to future-proof a top European university?
Thank you for having me, and welcome to Politecnico di Milano. Here we are in a lab on innovative materials. So this is a research lab which puts together, for example, engineers and architects together for building new materials for construction. But in general, our aim is to be able to create new figures that will be in the world of the profession for the next 40 years, that have to face technological but also ethical and the social challenges that must be considered whatever the discipline they study. So the first thing is to make sure that they are able to have a critical thinking and consider the different aspects of multidisciplinarity, building up on a basic discipline with strong basis, but then being able to face the new challenges. Sustainability is one of the topics we've been considering as a transformative challenge in all the discipline, and how to take into account the fact that we need to keep the world safe, but also inclusive, but also environmentally better than it has been in the past.
I would like now to discuss about digital skills. The European Commission has set ambitious goals for 2030 when it comes to digital skills. On the one hand, they aim at having 80% of adults having basic digital skills, and on the other hand, we need 20 million digital skills specialists in Europe. Currently, we are still far from 2030, but we are also far from reaching those targets. So approximately 54% of European citizens have basic digital skills, and approximately 10 million specialists are there, so we still miss another 10. So what is your take on this, and how are you implementing activities that are addressing and helping the Commission in achieving these ambitious goals?
Yeah, the goals are ambitious, but the problem is that Italy is not performing so well, not even as an average European country. Actually, we are 18 out of 27 in the Digital Economic and Society Index with respect to digital skills. So we have a lot of way to go before we can even get to the average.
I'm interested about Tech Europe Foundation. Can you tell us a bit more, please?
Yes, Tech Europe Foundation was born with the idea of trying to answer the innovation gap that the Draghi report says about the gap between the fact that we have a very good research, but then this is not transformed into something which is a company or a product or a technology that can be put on the market. So we try to bridge this gap by allowing researchers to having grants to increase the TRL of their research results, and then also help them and support them in creating new startups and invest in these two startups to be able to go to the market. As we know, deep tech is more complex than other sectors, so they will be able to leverage on the laboratories which we have here to prototype their products. For example, with the clean room in the for semiconductor type of products.
Great, thank you so much. Indeed, the micro-credentials are, I think, a great topic to talk about, because often we see maybe universities really focusing more on the traditional education. Adding micro-credentials is something that not everyone is doing, and I'm really glad to hear that you started long ago with this, and I'm also glad that we have some joint MOOCs that we developed over the past years, and they are quite successful. Now I would like to move to a different topic. So when it comes to digital technology education, of course we face the challenge that technology evolves as we deliver the education itself. So now we are teaching artificial intelligence, machine learning, quantum, and so forth. But we don't know what will come later, or we know, but we need also to make sure that the education system is aligned. So I was wondering, what is the view for you as the rector of such an important institution for this challenge? So how do you make sure that your curricula are always up to date and maintain a competitive edge when it comes to technology education?
Yes, you have to create the foundations first that will stay forever, and that will also allow you to continuously learning, because all technologies are evolving now at a faster pace than before, but and digital is the one which evolves faster probably, but in all technologies we have the same problem. If you consider artificial intelligence, we've been teaching artificial intelligence since 1973, so it's not exactly something new for us. Now it's, and our approach again is to make sure that artificial intelligence is a tool that is available to all the discipline of engineering, architecture, and design, because everybody can exploit artificial intelligence or different types of artificial intelligence. Then we have obviously the computer science and engineering courses in which we have a foundation of 3 years, the bachelor part, but then in the master part, there is the possibility of creating your own curriculum, your own path, and choosing what you prefer, type of topics you prefer. So offering a large number of courses that are evolving every year, following up the technology, and given that the basic you already had in the bachelor. The other things we are doing is actually working with companies in identifying also courses that are interdisciplinary and are more tailored to different challenges. We have a course on microsystems with ST Microelectronics, which is more in the area of semiconductor and MEMS, but which includes mechanical engineers, structural engineers, computer engineer, electronic engineering, all together in a course which takes from the different study courses to create a specific curriculum. And then we have one on smart wearable technologies, which is based on an experience you're doing research with EssilorLuxottica, which is developing the smart eyeglasses, which again actually includes more than 7 study courses, also from design courses, to make sure that the type of competence you can create are the one that will be able to develop the new smart wearable technologies. So these are 2 examples.
I like what you just said about students at Politecnico di Milano having the possibility to build their own curricula in a way, and also about the possibility to blend the different disciplines into a single study program, and also bringing together the industry in the design and execution of the trainings. When it comes to digital, we always hear that everything is remote, and in a way it's true. At the same time, I'm a strong believer in the physical interaction and in blending the online education with the traditional education in the classroom. To this end, I heard that you are building a new campus, where in the end I call it as a physical implementation of the knowledge triangle, which is one of our key messages, the integration of business, academia, and research. So my question for you, can you tell us a bit more about the new campus, and how are you building the University of the Future?
Yes, the new campus will be an addition of what we have now, and it's actually a regeneration of an area which was an industrial area at the beginning of the last century, which is now, which has been abandoned for many years, and we are now trying to redevelop. There are 2 gasometers inside which we are building 2 buildings. One is a innovation building in which we will have the new clean room, which is the biggest one in collaboration with ST Microelectronics and the departments of physics and electronics. We will have companies that will have some point of in the campus with us that are working with us in our joint partnerships. And we will have a part of the startups that we already have in Politecnico, which are now in a different site. The other gasometer will be a sports gasometers, because we think that sport is also an important part of the life of students, but also researchers. And we have a sports facilities also outside. And then we will have both the dorms for the students, we will have teaching rooms, but we will also have 35,000 square meters for entrepreneurship development. Together with Bocconi, we have created a foundation with other private companies also, which is called Tech Europe Foundation, that aims at developing an incubator and accelerator for new startup in deep tech. And everything should be inside a big wild area with very green, and which will also be totally sustainable, to be also an example to the fact that this can be done. And this should be also an area in which we will able to have students, entrepreneurs, so start-uppers, people from companies, and professor working together, both in research, entrepreneurship, and companies.
You mentioned different ingredients now in your last answer. What I noticed is that you emphasized a lot also the importance of having the companies, but also the startups. And in a way, that's something very important for Europe, where I see that not many countries are addressing the importance of entrepreneurship as a mean to address the translation from research to market. And we are a strong believer of the importance of creating startups that can become European and global players with strong roots in Europe and not always in other parts of the world. So this brings me to the topic of ecosystems. In the end, we need a single market in Europe. We know it's been under discussion for a long time, and there are steps being made. But maybe I would like also your view about the importance of ecosystem to boost entrepreneurship and innovation in Europe.
Well, I think the circulation of ideas is always a good thing, because by having diversity and sharing knowledge, this will bring innovation. Innovation doesn't come from staying always in its own area of comfort. You have to go out. And so you need also spaces to do that. And that's why we are building this new campus. And we will try also to bridge the gap, the innovation gap that we have. We produce a lot of IP. Not always, only part of them are actually then transformed into something which is exploitable either by industry or by startups. We need to help our students to have an entrepreneur mind, which is not something which is usual in Italy, at least, but with the solid knowledge, because if you are working in deep tech, it's not easy. And you need a lot of capital investment and time to develop a startups with respect to a startup that does services. So it's more complex, but not for this. You need to be skilled. You need to to be sure that to be able to fail and to restart in a protected environment. The failure problem, I think, in our generation is an issue. They are terrified by failure, by not even of an exam. They're more fragile probably. So we need to be sure that they are able to experiment and consider failure as an opportunity to learn.
Indeed, indeed. Last year we ran the first edition of a program that we call SPIN at IIT Digital, which has really this ambition that you just mentioned of, first of all, raising awareness into researchers that there could be something else beyond research to the market, and also then provides trainings on innovation and entrepreneurship to really help building startups or successful startups from very strong deep tech IPs, because we truly believe that if we want to change the world, we need to start from deep tech. And I'm also happy because the Politecnico di Milano was one of the most active participants to this initiative, and we are now launching the second and third edition this year. Now I would like to take a step back with you and look at Europe. We will not focus that much again on the universities or what we discussed so far. This is my last question. I would like to look at Europe. We live in a world that is driven by AI, artificial intelligence, and machine learning. And you mentioned at the very beginning that it's also important to safeguard European values, put human at the center, and also make sure that technology is helping human beings instead of being seen as something that creates problems. So what is your view on this? How can we build a true European ecosystem that leverages European values into technology?
I think EIT is one of the nice experiments of this, trying to build sharing knowledge among European universities. The European alliances of universities also a strong point in trying to create a European culture in the younger generation. Erasmus has done a lot on this. And I think the problem is not the younger generation, but more on the older generation that are not born European, but are born more with their nationality. And so if you want to have to be the first of your nation, you will not cede something to concede something to the European part. I was born in the European Commission, since both my parents worked for the European Commission, so I went to a European school. So for me, it's natural. I mean, this is how I grow up. And I see the younger generation more like this. They don't consider the borders. They speak English to everybody. They can manage, which is more difficult with older generation. We need to keep up in this effort, and we need to keep up in trying to make sure that people know each other from different countries, and understanding that we share a lot of ethical values which are different from other part of the world, and we need to protect those values, because otherwise we will be in problems, all of us. Somebody will not of us will not win. We are too small to be alone.
Indeed, I couldn't agree more. Thank you so much for your insights. And this comes to the closing of our interview. So, Rector, thank you so much for your time. Thank you for hosting us at the fantastic premises of your MABA Saper Lab here at Politecnico di Milano. And thank you for being a trusted partner of EIT Digital. And we are looking forward to strengthening our collaboration to address the challenges that we just discussed and transforming them in opportunities for Europe, for our students, for our graduates, and ultimately for society and economy. Thank you again, and see you soon.
Thank you very much, and I hope we will continue this work together.